What up, guys? It's been a while, but I'm getting close. So let's take a look at the progress that I've made and the issues I run into. Great. So here she is, all put back together. Made a lot of changes. Talked about some before, but I got different intercooler piping now. Filter, got rid of the MAF. It's routed differently. No more blow-off valve on this side, so that went over there. I got my wideband O2 sensor down there, nicely secured. Copper exhaust gasket, Bosch 2-in-1 temperature pressure sensor. Talk about that in a little bit. She's got fluids in her now. Blow-off valve relocated to the cold pipe. Got rid of some other stuff here. Plugged up the, let me turn this light on. Yep, there we go. Brighter. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Plugged up the OEM coolant temperature with a little plug, and then bypass like the throttle body coolant lines because that's unnecessary. I welded up my air temperature bung into there. Also welded the flange onto here. This was already done. What else? All the fuel system's done. It's good to go. So you can see I went with the middle here instead of the front. I had a fuel leak coming out of the mounting bolts. Somehow these protrude into the galley in here somehow, but put a little gasoila sealant and that stopped. The other thing that was leaking, you can see I stained my cover with fuel. This was leaking. Had a black one on there before, but I put a brass one or whatever material that is because all my hardware is yellow zinc coated. Doesn't that look pretty? Yeah. And then I did end up going with all of this setup here, so that worked out really great. Here's my fuel pressure. The temperature is not wired into this one, so there's only 4 wires on it, but all of this came out great. The bracket, you see that? Let me see if it'll focus. Yeah, you can see the little Haltech bracket right there. Bolted that up into there. Just drilled 2 little tiny holes for some really small screws, but that worked out great. Then I've got all the lines I made. So here's the return coming back from the fuel rail. Then it goes through, gets metered or regulated. Then it comes down here. And then it ends up going all the way down there. And then we got our filter. I haven't fully secured the filter. Just little things here and there. But overall, it's coming out pretty good. I got all my wires and all my vacuum and boost lines going in. Oh, one more thing. Boost control. The MAC valve is actually down there. See the little guy? And I put one of those little filters right. There's my phalange right in there. It's just a pneumatic muffler, I think they call them. But that's where that lives. And then the wire goes back over this way. And then I've got it tucked up in here. And it loops back around and goes up that way, along with the O2 and the throttle cable. Let's see, what ails? What ails? The ECU, I guess. We'll go look at that. It's a mess, but okay. So this is how we are currently. I'll figure out where to mount it and everything. Once I figure everything out, I had to wire in, make my own pigtail here connector for the wideband controller. I picked up one of these. They were cheap. Then this will just not have anything plugged into it, basically, because the 750 only has a certain amount of outputs and inputs, and all my inputs, which are AVI, are taken up by other stuff. So I won't have things like oil temperature. I have oil pressure, I have coolant temperature, but I don't have coolant pressure because this thing is out of inputs, even though I'm using the map on here instead of an external one, but that would be off of CAN anyway. But that'll all get nicely positioned somewhere. See the stains right there? It's because I had a leak on the heater core and I didn't have time to take the dash off. I have a dash that doesn't have any cracks, but I didn't have time to do all that stuff. You can see I just got the two lines that would normally go into the heater core basically just looped together because I don't need heat right now, and AC don't work anyway because I don't have any AC components, but oh well, that's what we're working with. But bad news is we're leaking coolant, and it's one of the hoses. You can't see it because it's buried underneath the intake manifold, but one of the hoses that I left OEM, 30-year-old hose, is the one leaking, of course. All the other hoses I replaced, or I made new ones because I can make new ones. So can you. But yeah, I have to remove the intake, hopefully just the upper intake runners, and get to it, make a new one, put it in, be good to go, because it's currently leaking coolant. So I got to drain coolant, and then I also have more coolant coming because I didn't have enough to fill up the reservoir and full all the way over there, get it started, and then bleed it, all that, blah, blah, blah. But anywho, I got to drain some coolant and fix that. And then also one other thing. I've had these gauges. They're the HKS triple gauge Singleton. I guess they're pretty difficult to find nowadays. I got these a long time ago, and I think I only paid like 120 bucks for them, and it came with the wires and everything. My voltmeter works, my boost gauge works, and they both light up. But this is either, I guess that it was oil temperature, or it could be coolant temperature, but I don't really care about coolant temperature since I can see it on the Haltech. So I want to make this an oil temperature. So I got the pigtails. I just don't know what the colors on them do. Let me show you. These are the two connectors that connect to the back of the gauge. So there's one that has 3 wires. I'm guessing this is probably for the light, or maybe that little red light in there. And then there's another one that has 5 wires. Now the other one was easy to figure out because I can just give it, feed it power and see what it does. However, this one, it's got a bit more wires, but I'm sure I could figure out like red and black or ground, and then there's the 3 wires, so there's yellow, white, and gray. At least one of those has to receive an input from some sort of analog. So I should be able to hook this up to one of the wires for, what is this, for oil temperature, which would be black yellow, that's located on this pigtail for auxiliary sensors. So I still gotta figure all this stuff out. I'm still learning the whole ECU software, the NSP software, and how to use it and navigate and stuff like that. I also replaced the seals on the output shafts for the differential, cleaned out the diff and everything, got new AMS oil in there. Transmission is also new fluid, AMS oil as well, just because I got membership and crap anyway. But yeah, we're getting there. So that was just a quick update on what's happening around here. I didn't record a lot of the other stuff I did because, it just takes additional time to set up the camera and record and all that. Anywho, maybe later on when I get more time, I can do more of that stuff. But I got a couple of car meets and car shows and events and stuff like that to get to, so I'm hoping to be able to get this done in time to get to those things And I'll record a lot of those and show you guys what happens around the area. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.